welcome to today's video where I'm going to be doing a full unboxing and setup of the Procolored UV DTF mini printer. A full disclaimer before we get into it, this is my second UV DTF printer and this was gifted to me. My name is NOELICREATES and I have a cup business amongst other things, and this printer has truly changed the game for me. Being able to print my own UV DTF transfers has truly allowed me so much more liberty when it comes to designing cups. And if you're not familiar with UV DTF, not to be confused with DTF, they are two very different things. UV DTF stands for ultraviolet direct to film, which essentially are sticker decals that can be applied to hard surfaces. But this video is going to be pretty long, so enough talking and let's just jump right into it. The first thing we're going to do is unbox and set up the entire printer, so let's get started. Alright you guys, so if you don't have the stand for the printer, you can just skip this part, but I'm going to start off by first assembling the stand. So I'm going to locate the part that has the wheels, which is going to be the bottom of the stand, and then I'm going to look for the middle part, which is going to be shaped like an H. I'm going to be placing that onto the bottom part, and then I'm going to look for the screws that have the washers, and I'm going to need 12 of those. And I'll be screwing that in with the Allen wrench that came with the printer, and I'm going to repeat that for all 12 screws. Once those are all screwed in, I'm going to locate this piece here, and there's going to be 2 of them. I'm going to screw that onto the top of the middle piece for both sides. This next step requires 2 people and it's a little tedious, so just be careful. We're going to be lining up those 4 holes on the bottom of the printer with these 4 screws on the top of the stand for both sides. Next, we're going to need 8 screws without washers that are going to be placed into these 4 holes on both sides. Next, we're going to empty out the printer, and we should have done this step before placing it on top of the stand. It would have been a lot lighter to carry, but that's okay. So any piece of blue tape that you see, you're going to remove it. Then go ahead and empty out everything that is in the printer. Be super careful with this next step. You're going to remove the zip ties from the belt, and again, just be super careful because you do not want to snip the belt. Now we're going to locate the cutting tray that's going to go in these 2 holes right here and place that in. Next step is to assemble the film, so I'm going to remove the holder from this tube carton. And I'm going to be unscrewing the ends of the holder to loosen up the rod in the middle. An easier way to get the film on here is to push one side down onto the black part of the holder and do the same thing to the opposite side. And you want to ensure that the 2 black pieces that are holding the film are lined up on the red lines of the metal rod on both sides, because that's how you know it's going to be centered, and then you can tighten the screw to lock it in place. I'm now removing the brackets from the printer and I'm putting those on the ends of the metal rods. Once both of the brackets are on, I'm going to place that back into their slots. And I'm going to repeat that same exact process with the other film as well. Now look for these 2 pieces that are L-shaped and are also labeled 1 and 2. You can remove the brackets because we're going to use those in just a minute. On the left side of the back of the printer, you're going to see this number 1, and you're going to unscrew all these 4 screws right next to it, and then you're going to get the L-shaped piece that is labeled 1 and line that up with those screws and screw them back in. And you're going to repeat this process for the right side that says number 2. After that, you're going to take the 2 brackets that we removed earlier and put those onto the second film and install them back into their slots. Now locate these 2 long metal rods and put them into the holes of the L shapes. It's now time to install the motor, so find 2 of these black pieces that look like this. And on the end, there's 2 holes that line up perfectly with the metal rods, so slide those in. Also something to note, the part with the power cord is going to be going on the right side of the back of the printer. For this, you're also going to be installing the tube carton on both sides and make sure that it's really snug. And it should look like this when you're finished. The carton is touching both ends of the black pieces. And once it's on there pretty snug, you can tighten this dowel on the bottom of the black piece to lock it in. We're going to lift up this orange roller to install the films, so locate the 2 metal knobs on the sides and turn them counterclockwise. The next couple steps are really crucial and important, so please pay attention. It's hard to see, but I'm going to feed this back film underneath the 2 metal rods and right behind the second metal rod on the farthest back. And you'll definitely want someone to help you pull it through to make sure it gets installed correctly. And as you can see, it's feeding through right behind the metal rod. I'm going to feed a little bit of this film first underneath the roller to make it a little easier. This part is a little tedious, so make sure you pay attention. I'm going to peel back the carrier sheet to this film here, and I'm going to run that carrier sheet over the 2 metal rods, not underneath. It's going to run over the 2 metal rods. I'm just going to keep pulling the carrier sheet until it reaches the motor tube, and then I'm going to tape it on there. Now I'm going to feed the back film underneath the orange roller and pull on it from the front to sandwich those 2 films together. I'm going to tighten up the knobs now by turning them clockwise, and this is just going to be for now and we'll come back to this later. Next, I'm just plugging in the cord from the motor into the printer. And I'm also plugging in the power cord into the printer as well. And now we can finally turn it on. I'm also turning on the motor by pressing the power button on the bottom. I totally forgot to record this step here, but this dial that I'm pointing to controls the direction of the motor. If you spin it to the left, it's going to go clockwise, and if you spin it to the right, it's going to go counterclockwise. It also controls the tension at which it spins the carrier sheet. And honestly, even filming this step wouldn't do much because this is just something that you have to play around with and find the best setting for your printer. But I will will show you the end result that you're going to want to be looking for. You want there to be enough tension to where the carrier sheet doesn't pop up when it's pulling back. I'm also ensuring that as I run both films forward, it's laying completely flat without any bumps. This is absolutely crucial, so now is the time to adjust the orange roller if you need to. Alright you guys, so the next step is to download and install the software. And I am absolutely horrible at Windows operating system. I really don't know how to use it. So this is where Procolored's tech support steps in. I reached out to the tech team for help downloading and installing the software, and they did it all for me, you guys. They actually connected to my computer using the Team Viewer system, and it's totally safe and secure. And all I had to do was sit back and watch as they worked their magic and installed the program and did all the stuff for me. If you ever need help with anything, if you have any questions, concerns, the tech support team is always there for you, and they are super helpful and awesome, you guys. After and only after installing the software and making sure that it works, you could do that by maybe running a printhead cleaning or just initiating a print and then canceling it right away. Then I'm going to install my inks. Please be very careful here and make sure you pay attention to which inks you're pouring in and make sure that they go in the correct spot. The printer comes with all the ink bottles that you're going to need. It's going to be a total of 6 different ink bottles, and this printer does print in CMYK, so starting from the left to the right, it's going to be white, varnish, black, cyan, magenta, and yellow. Once you've filled up all the inks, you're going to power on the printer and move the print head to the left. You can now power off the printer, and we're going to be extracting 5 milliliters of ink from each ink sac. A little tip here, all the sacks that I'm pointing to with the white label are all varnish inks, and you can use the same syringe for this. And the syringes and the tips do come with the printer as well. And don't waste this, you can put it right back into the varnish ink container. And keep repeating this until you extract 5 milliliters from each of the varnish ink sacs. Moving on to the colors, I'm going to do the black, cyan, magenta, and yellow first, and I'm going to be using the same syringe for this, so I will be throwing this ink away. Do not place them back in the containers. Again, keep extracting 5 milliliters from each color and leave white for last. And because white has 2 sacks, I'm going to use a separate syringe for that, and I'm going to recycle that ink as well. Once you've extracted 5 milliliters from all the different ink sacs, it's finally time to power on and use the printer. Okay, you've probably all been waiting for this, so let's finally print a transfer. Alright you guys, so here she is all set up and ready to use. So now I'm going to be walking you through step by step how to print something from start to finish. The first thing is you're going to turn on your printer. After turning on the printer, you're going to head over to your computer and you're going to start the Print XP program. Everything is gray right now, but as you just saw, it all lights up when it's ready to use, and the machine should look like this when it's on standby. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over here and open the flash, and you can actually hear it as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is clean the printer. You can either do this from inside your software, or you can also click on this button right here that says cleaning, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to run a print head cleaning. Now this is what you want to do every single time before you print something, and actually you should be doing this every single day. So something I want to stress about this printer is the maintenance is key, you guys. Like, you cannot go a day without cleaning this, pretty much. I mean, you can, nothing will happen, but you don't want to do that often because these printers are very delicate and they're very prone to clogging. So you always want to keep that ink flow and everything running smoothly, so make sure to clean this every single day. The cleaning head process for this printer is actually fairly quick. It literally takes maybe like a minute. It's now back to idle. You don't have to do this every single time, especially if you print every single day, but if you've been only cleaning your printer for a couple days and then now you're finally going to print, this is something you for sure want to do, and that's going to be the test button here. So I'm going to click on that. You can see right here I have this one from yesterday. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can see that says head 1, and you can see all the colors right there, and it's going to do that again right now for both print heads. So there goes the varnish. That's the varnish print head test, and I'll show you just a minute what you're going to be looking for. And there goes the second print head test, which is for the color. I don't know if you can see all that on camera. It's really hard to tell, but all these colors are filled in pretty nicely. This black color is an issue, and also it's supposed to say head 2, and it's not popping up. So we're going to clean this again. So let's run another cleaning, and that's just going to clean, and then I'll come back to you when we're going to print that second test. Alright you guys, so the print head cleaning is done now, and I'm going to run that second test again. As you can see, all the colors are there. The black is still missing a couple lines, but it's not a huge deal. So if it was missing a lot more, I would definitely keep cleaning, but for now that should be pretty good. So let's go ahead and start printing. Once you're ready to print, you're gonna go ahead and open up your ProRip software, which is this right here. So mine is already open, and what I'm gonna do is add my artwork, which is gonna be this button right here that's highlighted in orange, and I'm gonna click add picture. And then you can look through your files for whatever picture you want. It's going to drag it into the software, and I'm also going to do another cup as well, and I'm going to do this one here. So you can add as much artwork as you want. I'm just going to do these two just to show you, but you can really go as long as you want. And the way you would change that is right here. You can see that this canvas size is the width, which is 11.8, and the height is 100 inches. You can change this all you want here. This can go up, this can go down, it really doesn't matter. You can print as long as you want. And if you do have another Procolored printer, you can change this depending on your printer, of course, but for this printer in particular, the UV DTF printer, the max printing width is 11.8 inches. I'm going to hit the rip button here. I want to make sure that this is selected to the highest DPI, which is going to be that 1440. Just make sure that this little checkbox is not selected if you have another Procolored printer, like a DTF printer. That's important. Otherwise, don't worry about it, but you don't want this to be selected if you're using this for UV DTF printing. And then I have the print mode here, which is manual print after rip, which means that after I rip this, so after I click the rip button, I'm gonna have to go in and manually press it again just to confirm. I'm just going to click on print now. You can see that it's ripping. I have the manual option, which means once this bar fills up, I have to go in and click this button here to print it. As you can see, after pressing that button, it starts to print. Alright, so it just finished printing, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. Line right here to cut for this blade, obviously. It goes through the print, so we're going to want to go ahead and move this. Just going to click this arrow down here, and as you can see, it is now moving. And then this is the little blade. I'm going to slide that. And here are my prints. So now let's go ahead and apply these system cups. So before we wrap the cups, I'm going to shut down the printer, and let me show you what that's going to look like. So first, I'm going to head into the software, and I'm going to turn off the flash. This is very, very important. You need to turn off the flash before you turn off the printer. It's going to say saving parameter, and you'll also hear there you go. You'll hear it turning off the flash. Next, what we're going to do is exit the software. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to put yes. You have to exit the software before you turn off the printer, and that's to prevent the nozzle from being exposed to the air, which can cause blockages. So it's really important to exit the software before you turn off the printer. So now that I've turned off the flash and exited the software, I can go ahead and turn off the printer. So I'm going to do that over here, and you can let it sleep until tomorrow. It's time to apply the transfer, so let me show you how to do it. Okay guys, so I've just cut my transfers to size, and now I'm going to go ahead and apply it. Optional, but it definitely helps, and I definitely recommend it. This is a tumbler cradle. Also need a weeding pen and a squeegee. Just poked a little hole in the transfer, and this is just to make separating a lot easier. And I'm just going to cut off this thin piece right here, and I'll show you why in just a second, but first let's cut this off. I'm going to cut that off. Just like that. This sticky side is exposed, that inch that we cut off. And I only cut off that little piece just to be able to place it correctly before I wrap the whole thing. So be careful not to flatten this side down completely, or you will stick it on and that's it. Your transfer will be ruined and it'll crack off if you try to peel it. You can see that that lines up and it's going to wrap nicely. So now that I'm sure of my position, I'm going to flatten down that exposed piece that we cut off. You can see that my transfer is hanging on by that exposed piece that we cut off right here, that sticky exposed piece. I'll place it on my tumbler cradle like this, and I'm just going to peel back slowly. I'm going to take my squeegee and I'm just going to flatten down. And eventually, guys, you don't even have to peel back. It will kind of do it itself. I don't know if you can see that. As long as I apply the pressure, it's going to peel back by itself. But if you find that yours is not doing that, no problem. You can just peel it back and apply it. Once you get towards the end, I'm going to rip it off, but I'm not going to apply the whole thing yet. You can accidentally get this stuck onto the other sheet, and that wouldn't be a fun time. So I'm going to use my thumb to hold that back. I'm going to go ahead and squeegee the opposite side where I'm going to peel right now. You don't have to squeegee the whole thing just yet, just where you're going to peel. And make sure that it's on there pretty good. before I peel it. I'm going to take my pen. I'm going to lift the opposite side of the transfer very carefully. I'm not going to pull up, you guys. So I never pull up. I pull towards the cup, if that makes sense. And you see how it just peels off nice and easy. But again, I still want to keep that pressure. So I'm going to peel towards the cup. And now I'm going to flatten that, the rest of that out, the opposite side. I'm going to squeegee. And I'm also going to squeegee the rest of the cup just to be safe. Alright, so there is the first finished cup. It came out so nice and vibrant. Just look at those colors. Super, super vibrant and pretty. I just want to show you what will happen if you accidentally place your cup transfer in the wrong position. So for the opposite side, I didn't notice this. I must have lifted it once half of this side was already laid down. And I don't know if you guys can see that crack in the center. Let me see if you can focus. Okay. I don't know if you can see that tiny little crack right there. This is what happens if you place your transfer and try to peel it off. You'll get cracking like this. The quality on these transfers is super, super good, you guys. It doesn't even feel like anything is there. But I just want to show you because I'm going to fix this anyway. But let me show you what will happen if I try to peel this. So I'm just going to, like literally, I'm going to try to push it with my nail. Okay, I literally can't. I have to use a special tool to remove these, you guys. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm pushing really hard with my nail. Can you guys see that? These will not come off. You have to literally use like a tool to scrape it off. And even then you run the risk of scratching your glass. So I will show you if you ever make a mistake how you can get these off. But other than that, you guys, if you do not have this tool, good luck trying to get this off. Because water's not going to do it. Nothing is going to do it. You have to literally scrape it. I don't know if you can see. So I've had my printers for a while, you guys, and the only thing that I've found to work for scraping these off is this little tool here. Whenever I have mess ups, I don't know if you can see that, I use this. This is the only little tool that will scrape it off, and it's like a little spatula tool. You can see all the different like DTF things I've peeled with this. Like there's like all the little residue on here. This is the only thing that will work, you guys, because other than that, these are very, very hard to remove. So you literally have to scrape this off using one of these little spatula thingies. I'm going to show you. And even then, it is really not super easy to do this. So as you can see, you have to literally get right under there. And again, you still run the risk of scratching this. It's still pretty difficult to remove these. So just be careful because once it's on there, it's on there. It's not coming off unless you have one of these little tools. Hand wash this, it's not coming off. No, there's nothing going to be moving on here. It is super, super stuck on there. I have seen though, and this goes for all DTF transfers, they're still not dishwasher safe, you guys. Like any DTF transfers you use, not just these, do not put UV DTF transfers in the dishwasher. They are not dishwasher safe, only hand washing safe. Now let's apply the second cup transfer, and we're going to do the same thing all over again like I showed you, like this. I'm going to cut it off on the end right there. Make sure the positioning is all good before I press this. That looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to flatten that out, taking my squeegee here. Before I get to the end, I'm going to pull the rest off, and I'm going to take my squeegee, flatten out the other side. So that side is peeled back, and now I'm going to flatten out the other side here. Now I'm going to peel off the rest of the cup. Also, you guys, with the little pieces like this or any tiny pieces of decal, you definitely want to take it super slow on those because those do have a tendency to crack sometimes because they're so small. There's nothing really for them to hang on to. So those are more prone to cracking. So just go extra slow on those. And you guys, that quality is so good. It literally feels like nothing is on the cup. Like you can really barely feel it. And I just quickly want to show you the difference in quality. So these are transfers that I ordered a while back. The quality of these transfers is so much more thin and like, how do I explain it? And I don't know if you can see the quality of these. Like they are just not, they're not it. I just want to show you a side by side and you can still see the difference in quality. I don't know if you can see that, but this is just so much more grainy and like less quality here as opposed to something like this. And this was printed with my UV DTF printer. So I just quickly wanted to show you that comparison really quick. And now we're going to move on to some troubleshooting. And okay, so now let's talk about the most common troubleshooting issues and what you can do to fix it, and also the maintenance. If you find yourself not being able to print, or the printer's not responding, or things like that, here are some different couple things that you can try. First up, if you don't have your dongle or the USB drive plugged in at all times, you will not be able to print. You have to have this plugged in all the time to be able to use the printer. You also need to have your Ethernet cable that is connected to your printer plugged into your computer at all times as well. If that didn't work, go into the ProRip software and make sure that you have your printer selected as default. And also make sure that the device endpoint is connected to the IP address. And if that doesn't solve the problem, click on the RIP button and make sure that you're aware of what print mode you're using. You might have the manual print after RIP selected, which means that you have to go in and manually click print after it's done ripping. Now let's talk about clogging and print quality. If your test or your nozzle checks keep coming back with broken lines, here's what you can do to fix it. First, make sure that your print head is in the home position. You'll also be able to double check that in the Print XP software by seeing the position is 0mm. And also make sure that your flash is turned off. It should be gray like I just showed you, or you can double check by clicking on the flash button and seeing if it's asking to open. You're then going to head over to the back of your printer and pull out the ink waste container. You're going to look for the two tubes that have labels on them, and that's going to be black and red. And from each of those tubes, you're going to extract 5 milliliters of ink. I recommend wearing gloves for this because it can get pretty messy. After you've done that, put the tubes back, and now you can turn on your printer, run a printhead cleaning, and print the test again. And what we just talked about is actually going to be the daily maintenance. Don't worry, I'm not talking about the part where we extract the ink. All you're going to do every day is simply turn on the printer, run a printhead cleaning, print the test sheet, and that's it. Now let's talk about the weekly to bi-weekly maintenance. You're going to start by moving the printhead all the way to the far left, and it's going to hover over the mirror. Next, you're going to open up the left side door to expose the printhead and the mirror. So the mirror shows you what's underneath all the ink sacs, and this is your printheads. The one on the right is your varnish printhead, and the one on the left is your color printhead. You're going to grab these white cloths that come with the printer, and you're just going to clean around the two printheads, not on the two printheads, around it. And if you need to, this type of alcohol is safe to use. That's it for this type of maintenance, which again is only weekly to bi-weekly depending on how much you print. Now let's go over and answer some of the most frequently asked questions. So I asked you guys on an Instagram story if you guys had questions about the DTF printer, and you guys had quite a few. So I'm going to try to go through some of the most frequently asked ones. And I'm also going to be going through some of the questions on my last UV DTF printer video. If you haven't seen that, you can check it out right here. And I definitely recommend watching that video after you watch this one, because there's also some really helpful information and tips, things like that on that video as well regarding the first UV DTF printer that I had, which was this one. So anyways, I'm going to be going through some of the most asked questions that I see on these, and let's just get started. One of the most asked questions I get about the UV DTF printer is, does it work for apparel as well? And the answer to that is no. This is strictly a decal printer, and it will only work for UV DTF transfers that go on hard surfaces. If you guys want to see a full detailed video on the difference between UV DTF and DTF, please let me know in the comments down below, because I will definitely love to make that. I know there's a lot of misconceptions about the two, and people think that they're the same. It's just far from the truth. Again, if you want to see that video, let me know. I will be happy to clear that up for you guys in a full detailed video. Another frequently asked question I see here is, does this printer print double side? Nowadays, they're coming out with some transfers that are double sided, so the design will be mirrored onto the back, and it will have the same design on the front and the back. And unfortunately, no, this printer does not print double sided. You will have a white back to all your designs for this printer in particular, and this is fairly a new thing, so who knows, maybe in the future they'll make a double sided printer, but as of now, you will be getting a white background for all your prints using this UV DTF printer. Well, another question that I received was, can you print directly onto the products, or is that a UV printer? So no, this printer does not print directly onto the products, and that is correct. A printer that will print directly onto the products is a UV printer. This is a UV DTF printer, meaning ultraviolet direct to film. That's what that stands for. UV printer is just the ultraviolet printer, which you can print on hard surfaces for. That would be things like acrylic. I'm not sure if you can do wood, but all those different hard type of surfaces, usually flat, that is what the UV printer is for. This is strictly for decals. Again, it's in the name, UV direct to film. So it's going to be printing on a film transfer like this. Someone asked, do you need a certain ink for it or do you use vinyl? So no, this printer completely runs on UV ink. There's no vinyl involved with this whatsoever. These types of transfers are photo curable, which means that they're not going to get hard and they're not going to cure unless there's a UV ink. It's kind of similar to like when you do your nails. So I have gel nails on right now. It's kind of the same process. Your nails are not going to fully cure unless you have that UV light to cure the nails. For the girlies that get their nails done, it's kind of the same principle. Your prints are not going to harden unless there is a UV light, and that UV light has to be compatible with the UV ink. So only runs on UV ink. Someone asked, will you do UV DTF cup wraps for every season? I hope so. So I'm not sure if you're asking if I'm going to sell them. I'm assuming, right? So yes, I do plan to sell my UV DTF transfers. So if you're watching this video, not to make transfers for your own business, but to make transfers to sell, that is a great option as well. I do plan on selling my transfers, not with these designs for my business, but other designs, and then I will have an option to upload your own cup wrap designs if you want. But yeah, that is a great idea. You can definitely start a transfer business with this. Now I'm going to move on to the YouTube video questions here. Also, before I continue, I just want to say this is obviously not for someone who has a side hustle or a side business or does this on the side. No, you guys, like, I want to make that very clear, because when I do videos like this, people complain in the comments that, oh, this is definitely not beginner friendly, or, you know, for someone who does this on the side. In no way, shape, or form am I insinuating that this is a side hustle printer, or no, like, you need to be mainstream doing this as your full-time income, I feel like, or if you have the means to invest in this and you want to pursue this full-time, that's a different story. But if you have a full-time job and you want to just pick this up, you know, la-di-da kind of on the side, I wouldn't recommend this, you guys. This is for someone who has a cup business like mine and does this every single day, or someone who is looking to, you know, pursue this every single day, or full-time, or, you know, selling transfers. So I just want to make that clear, because I feel like a lot of people just assume that I'm saying, you know, blow thousands of dollars on this machine to only do it on the side. No, that's not what I'm saying whatsoever. You need to be dedicated. And again, not only do you need to be doing this full time, this is daily, you guys. This is a daily maintenance type of thing. You need to have the time to take care of it. It's kind of like a pet. It's kind of like a kid. Think of it. You need to, you know, nourish it, take care of it. So I just want to say that before we continue, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea and think that I'm just saying, you know, risk it all and buy yourself this printer. No. This is a full-time gig, so I just want to say that. Anyways, what do you do when you can't print for a few days, aka vacation mode? Any way to super clean the print heads before going on vacation so they don't clog? There wouldn't be like a super clean for the print heads. You would just put it in vacation mode. So the printer does have a vacation mode system. Basically, you will replace all the ink sacs with other set of ink sacs that it comes with. Those ink sacs will run into the nozzle, like lubricating liquid, if you will. So it does have a vacation mode. If you ever do, you know, need to go away for a while, the print heads will stay lubricated through that vacation mode, and of course that comes with your printer. I covered this earlier in the video, but I'm going to go over it again because it's very important. Is it dishwasher safe if coated with varnish? Please try and let us know. All UV DTF wraps, no matter if you know, get this or any you order from somewhere else, no UV DTF transfers are dishwasher safe. I repeat, no UV DTF transfers are dishwasher safe. They are completely hand wash safe. 100%. I've washed my cups hundreds of times. Nothing has ever happened to them. In fact, they look as good as new. Dishwasher is a big no-no. They will get ruined. This is a great question. Someone asked, I've bought some UV DTF transfers and they smell. Do they all smell of solvent or just certain brands? How do we get rid of the smell? So I will say, yes, the UV ink stinks. Like it smells pretty gross. Like it's a foul odor. When the machine is printing, it does not smell. It's only when you're pouring in the inks. Your end result, when you finally print your transfers, they should not smell. Mine don't smell at all. Even the ones that I've ordered before, they don't smell. So I would probably change your supplier if that's the case, because they should not smell like anything. Question was from the previous video, and I will show you a reference of what this person is asking. big question. So when you peel it off, in between each strawberry / flower pattern, there's no invisible film there, but your fingers just feel glass. Also, how does the print get sandwiched in between the two layers anyway? The machine does it when it's printing. Yes, so literally what you see on here, that's what's going to be on your cup. So no, once you apply this, there's going to be no invisible you know, ink or film in between all these different designs. It's literally just whatever you print. As you can see, all these little trees and bows, that is the only thing going to be sticking on your cup. There's nothing invisible in between or anything like that. So that's a great question. A lot of people can get confused with that sometimes. No, there is no invisible layers. And yes, the machine does sandwich the two films together through this roller right here, as we saw earlier in the video. And that is how you get the carrier sheet and the back sheet. So this sheet on top is going to be the sticky sheet where all your, you know, decal is going to stick. And then on the back here is your carrier sheet. Someone is asking what software. It is used with ProRip software, and that comes with your computer when you purchase the printer. Someone asked how much is the inks. I will list the consumables right here for you guys. A big tip, you guys, you will not need the CMYK colors as much as you're going to need the white and the varnish. I have not had to replace the CMYK colors in a while. Like, it's been a while since I've had to replace them. But the white you're going to need, because there's 2 layers of white on the back of all of the prints. There's white 1 and white 2. So that is why you are using a lot more white. And varnish. I feel like definitely varnish is the most used ink that I use. So that being said, what I did is I first purchased a whole set of all the inks at one time, and now I only purchase the varnish and the white. I want to go over the other consumables as well, which is your A and B films, or the front and the back films. I wouldn't say these go by too fast. First printer, I've had it for, like I said, almost 3-4 months or something like that. I only recently had to replace the films for that. So that lasted a pretty long time considering I use it almost every day. They are very pricey though. So just so you guys have that in mind, the consumables are pricey for this. Okay, so that's pretty much all the questions that I see here. I think I've covered everything. If there's anything I missed, please list them in the comments down below. Any of your questions, ask me. But now I want to go over the price point. Black Friday is right around the corner. They're having some awesome deals right now, you guys. The first option that we have here is going to be the cheaper option, which is with AB film, and the price point for that right now is $5,999, and that is the normal retail price, you guys, so $6,000 almost. But right now they're running their Black Friday specials where you can save $300. That new total is going to be $5,699.05, and on top of that you can stack my code NOELICREATES, which will save you another $80, you guys. So that is a great deal. That's almost $400 off. So the second option is literally everything that comes in the first option. The only difference is that it's going to have the stand. This is a more pricier option, and it retails for $6,498. So it's an extra $500 for just the stand, which is a little pricey in my opinion. However, it depends on your situation and if you have the desk space or not. I definitely don't have any desk space, so a stand was definitely necessary for me. However, I will mention that it does make moving the printer a lot easier because it has wheels, easier to maneuver and stuff if you're having to get in the back, empty out the waste tank, things like that. It does make life a lot easier than having it on a desktop. That is just something to consider, but is it worth another $500? I don't know, it's up to you. And right now, this is $324 off. The Black Friday price is going to be $6,173.10. And again, you can stack my code NOELICREATES for an additional $80 off. So basically right now with the Black Friday deal, you're basically getting the stand for only $100, give or take, around there. So that's a great deal, especially if you really need the stand. That is a great deal. You're going to want to hop on it before, you know, Black Friday sells out. Now let's talk about the price point in general. Yes, I'm well aware that $6,000 is very, very expensive. So this really depends on you and your business. And again, I'm going to be transparent and say that this was gifted to me. Both of these were gifted to me. So I know it's a little bit biased, but had I not been gifted this, I was already looking to purchase a UV DTF printer. That was already on my list of things to buy because you have to spend money to make money. It really depends on your situation, your business. This was definitely the way for me to go. And not only that, UV DTF is the future for cup businesses, you guys. Like, I hate to say it, I really do love vinyl. It's my roots. It's where I started. But I also don't want to lie and say that, you know, there's a future with vinyl. There's not. It is very unsustainable. You really don't understand unless you've been in that situation. I made all my cups by hand. I had to cut so many different colors. I spent so many hours cutting and, you know, layering, transferring, all that stuff. So take it from me, who's done the vinyl cups for a very long time. I got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. It was so unsustainable. I was miserable. It stopped making me happy. And that is why I switched to sublimation. Unfortunately, sublimated cups just don't do as well. And I learned that as soon as I brought in back my, you know, clear glass cups, my business blew up again. I know it's kind of hard to take my advice when I got these gifted to me. But for those who have been subscribers for a long time, you know that I have always been honest with you guys and transparent. And I really do look out for my subscribers. So take this information and do what you like with it. But in my personal opinion, if I needed another one, I would buy it. No problem. It's for my business and it's going to help me grow and, you know, get to my goals faster. It's going to save me time. It's going to save me money. It's going to save me headaches, you know. Okay, you know what? It might not save me headaches because these are like 10 times more headaches than the vinyl. I will say, I'm going to be honest, you know, like it's annoying. Sometimes, you know, they make you just want to square up with your printers, but at the end of the day, it is worth it to me. With that being said, you guys, I think I'll end the video here, and I will have the links for my UV DTF printers in the description box down below. If you've been thinking about getting one, run right now while the deals are happening. I think it's going to be through November 30th, those Black Friday deals. This doesn't happen often, you guys. Like, these hardly go on sale. So not only that, if you're interested in a DTF printer instead, watch this video here, and this printer is also going to be on sale. Right now, you're going to get the oven for free, I believe. So go check out this video if you want a DTF printer instead. Again, I will have that linked in the description box for you. I hope I covered everything. I think I did, but if there's anything that I missed, please leave your questions in the comments and I will try to answer them for you. And after having two printers for a while, I will make another updated video on how it's going and everything. But yeah, I hope you guys found this video helpful. And if you want to see more videos like this and all things small business related, please subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a video. And thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to check out my TikTok and Instagram for more content like this, and I will see you guys in the next one.